All right, welcome everyone. I'm gonna get started with the class. Can everyone see my screen? I'm sharing my screen. Can you leave in the chat if you can see the screen? Okay, awesome. Thanks, Marianne. Thanks, Hector. Okay, so this is session 2, and we're going to be going over Cairo. So last week we went over Starknet or high level on Cairo and Starknet, but this Basecamp is mostly focused on Cairo, so we're kind of getting you know started today. So for the sessions, we are here at Cairo. Next week is going to be Starknet and smart contract, and then we're going to front end and Dojo. And the 6 week is open discussion, but I've seen it getting a lot of feedback that people are interested in on chain game. So it might be that I spend 2 weeks on Dojo. I'm still trying to work out that, or I'll still leave this as open discussion. It's also an important topic. So for this session's topic, we're going to go over the Cairo meaning and history, field elements, introduction to Starkly, which is kind of hands-on. We're going to be solving some problems with Cairo. And this is kind of what you will also be required to finish for part of the requirements for graduation. And then there'll be homework to complete the Starklings, which you don't have to turn in until the end of the base camp, which is in about 5 weeks, and which is also live coding session. So go about that. So Cairo. So Cairo is a bit of a confusing name because it originally referred to the computer architecture, CPU-A, which stands for Algebraic Intermediate Representation. And then the low-level bytecode executed by the CPU-A is also called Cairo assembly, or CASM. And you're going to kind of get more familiar with this once we start writing Cairo on our computer. And also the high-level language, this is what we're learning that compares to Sierra. And then CASM is also called Cairo. So again, it might be a bit confusing when you hear a lot of Cairo, but the one you need to worry about is this high-level language for this class, which is what we're going to be introducing today. So the old implementation of the high-level language is also known as Cairo 0. It's now depreciated. So you would still see a bit of Cairo 0 around the world. It's closer to assembly language and it's a bit more, difficult to onboard developers on there. And this is, some of the reasons why, the Cairo one was created, or Cairo right now, as we call it. And I mean, Cairo is also the capital of Egypt. So it's a bit, when you're trying to find resource and you look for Cairo, it's a bit difficult to find the resource. This is why it's like Cairo is confusing, but we'll try to break it down for you and make sure, you understand it properly. Next week. Okay. So in 2018, Stack white paper was published, which is like really vital to, the Cairo language, because it's the language that generates proof of computation uses the technology of Stark. And if you're interested, you can, look into the white paper, but again, you don't really need to kind of go deep into this to follow along in this course. So then there was the creation of Stack X, which was hard-coded polynomial constraints. And then in 2020, the creation of Cairo, which is now Cairo 0. These stackers were written using Cairo, and then the publication of Cairo white paper. So again, if you want to go into like the academics behind Cairo, you can read the white paper, but you absolutely don't have to understand it thoroughly to, write programs in Cairo. But this is just a good, history on the language. And then in 2021, creation of Starknet, Cairo smart contract. And so you can write smart contracts using Cairo and Starknet. And we're going to go over this but next week, but you probably I'll send resources if you interested in looking at or just getting like introduced. I'll send some resource also at the end of this class. And in 2023, the release of Cairo 1, which is now just called Cairo, which is what we are going to be working on today. Before that, we'll go on field element and then we'll get started. So field elements, Cairo's default data type is field elements. If you are familiar with Solidity, this is like U256. And a felt can be represented as a value like 0, but not less than p, and p is a very large prime number. And this is kind of like what p is a bit smaller than 252 bits. All arithmetic operations are mod p, so a felt can overflow and underflow in Cairo. And like if you try to do like a division, like 1/2, you're actually getting p plus 1 divided by 2, which is not 0 or 0.5. You get a very large number in this case. But well, thankfully we got like signed and unsigned integer to solve this problem. So in Cairo, there's like a data type called unsigned integer, and we're going to go over this today. So you'll see the application. Even if this seems like a bit confusing, once you start going over like the Starknet, it's going to make a bit more sense. So these are different type of unsigned and signed integers we have in Starknet. So it's a U8, U16, U32. And it just means that this can contain like up to 8 bits, 16, 32, 64, 128, and 252. If you have questions, please leave it in the chat and I will go over it like after this. And signed integer are also supported on Starknet. So you can use signed or unsigned integer on Starknet. I don't know if you wanted to ask a question, Wilfred, but if you do, can you leave it in the chat? Okay. Also, today we're going to be doing like an interactive section with Starklings. So it's a way to learn Cairo. It was created by Charme Tweet, and now we have like Starkling app created by Damien, which allows you to kind of like practice Cairo on the browser, which you're going to be doing today. So before this, you had to like fork the Starklings code and like build it on your system, and then you would have to kind of like install Starknet, Cairo as a dependency or Scarb, and then like just manage all this on a dependency. But with the Starkling app, it kind of reduces the barrier to entry, so you can get started without having to worry about all the dependency. If you just want to get familiar with, Cairo, you can just go there and like see syntax and then start doing this. But aside from this, we also have like Cairo Playground where you can now use to test out Cairo again. And I will send all these resources again at the end of the class. But this is what this class is going to be mostly about. Again, and this Starkling is maintained by the community through Only Dust. Only Dust, again, I'll send the link here if you want to go over it, but this is where you can contribute to open source projects on Starknet. Okay, so we'll go to the live coding session now. I'm going to open this app on a different browser and then move it here. So give me a second. Starklings. And again, if you all have questions when I get started, please feel free to ask. And if I'm going fast, also let me know. So this is Starklings. You go there by starklings.app. Again, this link will be in a message after. And you have to solve like most of the problem here. Because I've solved everything here, I'm just going to try to clear the cookies and then we can get started. AMD said, why does Cairo use? It's because of the stacks. This is kind of like a more efficient way to handle stacks. I know that they're working on a next gen that would even be smaller, but yeah, it's because of Cairo uses stacks, and this is just the most efficient way to do that. Okay, so this is the first quest that you have to complete here. So it's introduction. So it says, welcome to Starkling Cairo V1. This exercise doesn't do anything yet, but it's still compiled. So Cairo files getting run needs to have a main function. So this file is a valid Cairo file. So what it's saying is that because we have a function, because we have a function main and like this parenthesis and the curly bracket, if we click compile, this should compile. But this is just like a basic Cairo file, and it just shows that it works. So we compiled it and it says, great, we've compiled it. We can go on to the next one. So this exercise won't compile, make it compile. So if we run compile here, it fails because this is not a valid Cairo file, right? So it says something went wrong, click on compile. So we can try to get int, but it's like they're not giving us int this time. But remember from the first one, it says for a Cairo file to be valid, we need this. And this is why that one compiles. So we can attempt to do that here and see if it works. So we say fn main, and then we'll put the parentheses and this. And then we hit compile. And this should work. So I'll go on to the next one, which are variables. So in this case, if we try to compile this, it should fail because we did not define the variable properly. We're saying x equals 5, right? I mean, again, remember we still have the function main, yeah? But in this case, we do not define the variable properly. And it's saying it here, invalid left side of an argument. But if we still want to get more help, we can click on get int, and it should take you to the Cairo book documentation where you can read more about it. And there's like variables here. So in this case, you will see that to define a variable, you need the let keyword. And this is what we put here. But if you want to learn more about this, you should also read the Cairo book. This will come in very handy when you're like programming with Cairo. So anyways, we put the let keyword, and then when we compile, it should work. Okay, and then we'll go on to the next one. If we try to compile this one again, it will fail. And it says missing token terminal equation. So in this case, we said let x. So we trying to initialize x, but we did not complete it because we didn't assign it a value. But now we're trying to compare a value here. So it's if x equals 10, but we just say let x here. So in this case, for us to make it pass, I don't know if someone wants to help me out here and kind of maybe tell me what I can do. I know this is, again, simple things, but it's kind of like getting started with Cairo. Is there anybody in the chat that would to help me out?
Yeah, I think you can set x to 10.
Okay, thank you, sir. So yeah, we assign value to x now. So yeah, this is a value comparison now. So it passed, so we can go on to the next one. So in this case, it's a similar issue, right? So we're saying let x, yeah, and we're trying to print out the value of x, but we've not assigned any value to x. So if we try to compile it again, it fails. Again, if you are coming from like Python, obviously you already know how to define, variables, which is kind of like the basic thing to do. But yeah, the only difference is like you have to, put the type. But I mean, if you're coming from a strongly typed language, you already understand this part. So I'm just going to go here and just assign the value here. So we can quickly move. Oh, it should fail again because I did not assign it. I just put 10. So we need to assign this with an equal assign operation, and this should work. Here we go, next one. And then this one is trying to introduce another concept. So if we do this, we define initialize the variable here and assign it a value. This is valid, but now we're doing, it said we should not change this line, but we are saying x equals 5, right? If we compile this fails, obviously. I'm going to try to see why. So if you are trying to read this documentation on variables, it tells you that Cairo uses an immutable memory model. So by default, like these variables are immutable in Cairo. So if you want to reuse this variable, right, we have to kind of indicate that, okay, we need to put a mute here. So this is talking about variables immutability. And if you read through this documentation, it should tell you about this. So I'm not going to spend too much time reading documentation, but I would still recommend that you kind of go through this documentation. It would come in very handy. So anyways, when we put a mute keyword here and we try to compile this, it should work. So it's just saying that, okay, variables are mutable. Okay, we'll go here again. And this case is trying to introduce a concept called shadowing. If you click on get int, it should kind of explain what's going on in this situation. So it says, fortunately, Cairo is a powerful solution, a problem called shadowing. Again, I'm trying to go fast because I know this, can be a bit basic for some people, and I'm trying to kind of balance it with everyone here. So Hector says, so let is the const of JS. So variables are different from constants, and we're going to see like constants here. So constants are values that are not supposed to change. But variables are values that can change, right? But in Cairo, everything is immutable. Even though it's a variable, you have to specify that as a variable. But we still have constant that you cannot use mutation on. So const is different. So okay. Okay, so in this case, we're going to be using shadowing. So shadowing allows you to reuse variable, but we kind of like, we have to declare it again. So in this case, we say let number equals 1. If we want this to pass again, without renaming the variable, we have to say let. We don't want it, because we can also use mute, yeah, it will compile, but this example is trying to teach us the concept of shadowing. And again, I would ask you to refer to the documentation. There's a section on shadowing. You should read to understand it. So yeah, we use another let with the concept of shadowing. So if you read it again, variable shadowing refers to the declaration of a new variable with the same name as a previous variable, right? So again, in this case, we initialize the value of x, but then we can reinitialize it again and just like redeclare it again. And this concept is called shadowing. Think the difference between shadowing and, I would give that as an assignment. Oh, well, it's not an assignment. One main difference between shadowing and like using mute is that you can change the data type in shadowing, and in mute, you cannot change the data type. So when we hit compile, yeah, this should work now. Yes. Yeah, we'll go to next one. And this one is const, right? And this is kind of like to answer your question. I'm not sure who asked the question on constant, but this is constants in Cairo. So in this case too, the documentation talks about constants. So I'm just going to like F const. Find this real quick. So yeah, this documentation talks about constants. But in constants, you cannot use mute, right? But you have to declare the data type. I mean, I would recommend that if you are even writing a Cairo program, you should always declare your data type. So in this case, the issue that was that, they define a constant and they did not declare a data type. So if you compile this, it should fail, and it should tell you that. Just waiting for it to fail. Yeah, it fails, and it should tell you that they expected it to be followed by type, but it wasn't. So you just put in the type here. So I'll just say U8 because 3 can fit into U8. I'll send it to 8, and then we click compile, and then it should compile. Okay, then we'll go to the next one, which is the primitive types. So this is just like talking about different types in Cairo. And again, this documentation is here to help you. Again, I'm kind of referencing it a lot in this talk, but you all would have to finish I'm going to solve half of this Starkling in this class, and you all would have to finish the other half, and you would have to always refer to the documentation or a lot to help you finish it. But again, there are different types of there are different types in Cairo. So this like scalar type, which is felt. There's integer types. Yeah, and there's like Boolean type, string type, short strings. But again, to solve this our problem here, it's talking about Boolean. So in this Boolean, we created a variable is morning, and then we use a comparison. If it's morning, do this. So in this case, they just want us to create another variable, which we'll call is evening. And then because see, they're doing a comparison with is evening, but it was not declared. So we just have to declare it here. So we call it, let's say, true. So this condition will now run. So I'm trying to speed through this. I'm not sure it's not on mute. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next one, which is also talking about another primitive type. And this primitive type we're going to be learning about here is short strings. So in this case, you just give me a second. and expand the space. All right. So it's saying we should finish this line like the example. What's your favorite short string? So it just wants us to declare a short string. In this case, we just say your character. I'll say mute your character. And then we'll put a short string. And a short string, if you want to find a short string, you just need a single quote and you can put like a short string. So I'll just say HE is the short string. Yeah. This should run and it should compile.
Because Windows does not, I mean, this one is not aware of whatever this one.
And if you all have questions, please ask in the chat. I know, again, this is kind of like a simple part, so we can just run through it. Okay, in this case, it's going to be talking about a data type called tuple. So destructure the cat tuple to call print on each member. So if you, again, go here, you should be able to find a data type called tuple. I can just say tuple. Let's see. Okay, so this example will show you more about tuple. So here is how you declare a tuple, and this is how you construct a tuple. And again, if you want to understand it better, just read through this and you should be able to understand it. But in this case, for us to be able to kind of deconstruct the cat tuple, we'll put a parenthesis, and we need name and age, and then we just put cat. And this should deconstruct the cat tuple for us, and then we can print out name and age. If I click compile, this should work. Is there any questions so far? And please ask in chat. I would like to get some more questions. Okay, so in this case, we'll read the problems here. It says to modify the types of this function to prevent overflow and underflow. So in this case, we're trying to sum two big numbers, right? And we're putting in U8. And if you look at the test here, it has 255 plus 255. And U8 is, I believe, is 255. So if you're adding 255 or 255, it's not going to fit into a U8 integer. So if we kind of increase it here to U16 and U16, that test to pass. And if you want to kind of like, make sure the test pass, we have to modify this too. And this is to modify this test to make the current integer type. So we're just going to do that. And then we have to do another to convert this to felt. So this concept we are trying to talk about here is typecasting. And in this case, we have a function convert to felt. We'll pass in an argument of x, which is U8. I want an output of felt 252. So the concept we're going to use is we're going to do x dot into. So x dot into will put U8 into a U252. And the reason why we're using into is because U8 is smaller than felt 252. So we are certain that the value of x is going to fit properly into a felt 252. And then in this case, we're supposed to convert a felt to a, because felt is bigger, we're going to do a try into, and then we're going to unwrap it. This guy. And again, if you want to learn more about it, you just click on get int and the Cairo book. But also you can, when you get to the Cairo book, you just try to look for typecasting. Right. Okay, it's called type conversion, yeah. So again, if you get to the Cairo book on data type, there's a section for type conversion. So it explains into and try into, and this is what we're going to use in this case. And then if we try to test this, this should work out. Okay, then we go to the next one. Going into operations, this one should be simple. I would appreciate if someone can walk me through this. Don't know if anybody is willing to kind of maybe unmute and say it or leave it in the chat. But what we're trying to do is run an operation of x raised to the power 3 plus y minus 2. And this is the function for it. So it's taking in a x and y as an argument, and then it's returning a u size. So I don't know if anybody wants to try on how we can solve this.
To solve this, we simply we say x, asterisk is the symbol for raised to power. We say asterisk raised to power 3 plus y minus 2. We'll put it there in that very section there.
No, we'll first have to declare a variable to store it. And because this is getting our results, we're supposed to try to first let results. So create a result variable, right? And then in this place, we do the x. Because x raised power 3, so it's just x times x times x, right? We can put in parentheses if we want. And then plus y minus 2. Then encode. And in this case, we put result, and then it returns it here. Do you kind of get why we did this? Franklin, were you the one talking?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so this worked in that case. Okay, this is still same problem we had initially. So can someone walk me through this one again? Anyone? Yes, and if you want to answer Daniel's question, so you say we cannot use that operation. You can see all the operations used on Starknet in the documentation. So you see operation and symbol. So unfortunately, that particular operation is bitwise exclusive, or is what they're using it for here. So it's not going to work. So we just use the start times start times start. In this case, arrangement multiplication. Can someone help me out in this writing of completing the function for modulus? Franklin, you want to try again? Eniola. Okay, thank you, Eniola. So you said let result equals x modulus y. Okay, that works. What about floor division? Can someone else help me out? Right. Result equals x divided by y. And then for multiplication, should already get the scope for this. Anyone else? All right, Eniola again. I appreciate you. So x times y. So let's try and see if it works. So Daniel, there's like external libraries like see, give me a second. I know there's Alexandra that gives you like all this operation that you can, import into your contract, and then you can use those external libraries. So by default, yes, this does not exist, but there are other ways that you can be able to do that, achieve that solution you asked. And I'll probably show you an example when we get to Starknet next week, so you can see what that is. Okay, so this worked, so we'll go to the next one. So this is trying to like learn about conditionals. Again, if you're into programming, you should have probably used conditionals like if statements, or if else statement in this case, before. So maybe we should attempt this now. So in this case, again, if you want to learn about conditionals, the documentation will help you out. That's if you're new to this. This under control flow shows you like an example of an if expression. So if you're new to this should be able to help you out. But yeah, so let's just attempt this now. So we try to get create a function for bigger. So once compare if one number is bigger than another. So again, this is the function signature. So it's fn bigger. It takes into a and b, and then it returns the bigger number. So if you want to do this, I think we have like an if statement. So if a is bigger than b, we're going to return a. Else, return B. I think this should work. And let's test it and see. Okay, it worked. All right. Wait, all of you can hear me clearly, right? Can you all hear me? Okay. Okay, in this case, we're trying to write this is a, I guess, classic problem in programming, like fees, foo or fees. I don't know if someone wants to try this and help me solve this one. So we have this function, foo if fees. So it's complete this function using if, else, if, and or else block. So if fees is fees, return foo. So this is correct, right? If fees equals fees, is comparing that, return foo. Else, I mean, we're going to use else if I can help out with that. But can someone else give me the other condition for us to check? Anyone?
Like if physics equals false.
So you think equals false. We're going to return bar. And then we just have the else. And then we return bars if it's else. Okay. And then we'll go to function. And in this case, we're just supposed to make this compile. If you try to compile this, it's going to fail. And you're going to get it into Y. I want to see if someone can figure out why it failed and then help me solve this. Does anyone know why this is going to fail?
The function has not been.
Yeah, we just need to declare the function and then that's it. Again, this probably is a simple thing for most people that, you know, are into programming, but this is just kind of like basic get you up to speed onto Cairo. And then we will go and do more complex things. Okay. So we'll run this and see if it works. Okay, it fails. So why is it failing? Okay, it needed me to take out this and then we should try again and see. Okay, then we go next, another function. This one should fail. Can someone tell me why? So in this case, we see this function call me and we're passing an argument 3.
The data type is not declared.
Oh, yes, sir. So I guess we need to declare the data type and then it should pass. Yeah, that should solve the problem. I'm going to refresh. Don't know why this is taking forever. My internet is, see if this works. Then we'll compile now. Okay, that worked. Awesome. Then we'll go to the next one. Can you all give me a minute? I'll be back and just. Give me a minute, I'll be back. Okay, guys, I'm back. Okay, I don't know if someone can help me out with this too. I'm going to try to compile it and let's see the problem and then we go. Can you all hear me and see me clearly?
Yes, sir. I
Okay,
think
awesome.
we just need to pass the value to the call me function.
All right, awesome. Yes, sir. So yeah, we just pass in any value and this should work. Then this, okay, this another one. And this one is probably going to be a bit complex for someone that's not used Cairo before, or something like Rust. But yeah, can someone tell me what the issue is here?
The type of the return value is not declared. The value that is returned, we didn't declare the type.
Yes, sir. Okay, so just do that and that should work. Oh, it's not supposed to be a bool. It's supposed to be a U32. You should have told me the type too. Okay, it works. Okay, now this is us. We'd have to kind of like do a quick quiz, yeah. Do someone attempt this or should I go for this one now? And this is the problem, right? Mary is buying apples. The price of an apple is calculated as follows. An apple costs 3 Cairo bucks. If Mary buys more than 40 apples, each apple only costs 2 Cairo bucks, right? So we're going to, I guess, use a conditional here. And then, we try to work it out. Is someone willing to attempt this or should I go for it?
I'm thinking we should first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking we should first accept like a value,
Okay.
like a value and declare like the return statement.
Okay.
I mean the return type.
Where am I supposed to do that, sir?
It seems to be like where you declare the function at the top, where you have calculate price of apples.
So this one?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Should
awesome.
accept
So what is it accepting?
the number of apples.
I guess quantity of apples and what's
Type. I think we can use U32.
okay, yeah, U32 should be fine. And then what are we returning?
You can also return U32.
All right. Okay. So in this place, what are we going to be checking for? So I guess we have an if condition, no?
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
check
you can
for
do.
the quantity of
Okay, if quantity is greater than 40,
40.
so it's quantity times 2. I'm not sure who's talking, but please mute your mic if you're not solving the problem. Okay, then what do I do here?
That was 1 times 3. Return like 1 times 3.
Okay, so I think this should work. No, okay, it worked. So yeah, we got that. So in this case, we're going to be testing the loops. So in this case, it says to do make this test pass without changing any existing line. So we are supposed to run a loop, or we're running a loop here, but it breaks, and then let's counter plus equals 1. So I guess you're not going to get to +1 before it breaks, right? Because you're just having a break condition. So we're supposed to fix this issue. So if we click test again, throws an error for sure because we've not solved the problem. Can someone suggest how we solve it?
If we move the break after the counter,
It should still break, no? Because if you move the break after the counter, it just means that the counter will run once and it will still break?
we have to put an if counter equals 10.
Counter equals or equals?
Equals.
Okay. So if counter equals, then we break it. Put that condition. Would it still run? I'm going to test and see. Okay, that worked. Okay, so we have another statement here. To do return a value from the loop. So how do we go about this one? Anyone? I'm going to wait for like 30 seconds. I believe in you all. 1 second. Does anyone want to attempt it?
So, like, is there like I don't know if there like unlocked stuff in Cairo.
You said what?
Okay, we're supposed to return a value from the loop if it's equals to 5. So maybe we should just put like just counter because like when you just put counter,
I,
the
I
returns
think we
counter.
should break. We should break from the loop. We should use the loop and break from it when it's 5.
So we want to do return a value from the loop. So we want to get a value from the loop. Yes, if we break from the loop, right? It just breaks, right? It doesn't return a value. So we're supposed to do
If
something
we
else.
put break and counter,
Yes. Test this, it should work. I think I have to put a semicolon, right? There's no semicolon there, so it will fail. I don't know. Sometimes it just runs slow. So I'm just refreshing again to do this. But if you check the int, it literally says that it must end with a semicolon, right? So we have to put that here. And then if we test, it should work. Okay, so now we're going to enums. We are getting in on almost half of the listed. So enums will be the last one we're going to touch upon. And then I'm going to show you like some new things that just came out today that probably would help you all kind of also get deep into Cairo. But yeah, does anyone try it? Is this kind of like a familiar concept, the enums? Has anyone seen this before? Anyone there? Yeah, in TypeScript. Okay, awesome. Okay, so enums. So in this case, to define a few types of messages as used below. So again, the Cairo book kind of gives you an explanation of what enums are. But if you click on this, so it's enums, short for enumerations, are a way to define a custom data type that consists of a fixed set of named values called variants, right? Enums are useful for representing a collection of related values where each value is distinct and has a specific meaning. So in this example here, it gives us like an enum for direction. So it's like in this enum, we have different variants of direction. We have the north, we have the east, we have the south, and the west. And this is how you kind of like, create it. So in this case, in our own issue here, so we have enum for message, right? I want us to define it to use here. But obviously, so we might feel like we don't even know what to put here because like what type of message. But you see how it is used, right? So because define a few types of message as used below, you see that they have message of quit, echo, move, and change color. And if you see it here, you see that, okay, this is how they use one. So direction of not. So you kind of assume that in this, we would have quit, right? We'll have echo, we'll have move, we would have change color. Let's put a comma here. And if we try to compile this, this should work. Okay. And then we'll go on to the next one. First, another enum here. So in this enum here, define a variant, different variants as used below too. So we want to define it as used below. But if we try quit, that's what we did last time, echo and change color. You see that it's used differently, right? So it's, in this case, in this echo, it has a value. In this move, it has a value. In this change color, it has a value. So if we try to compile it, it will fail because we've not properly defined the enum, right? It's telling us that unexpected argument type, this and found this. So if you, again, check for enums with value, you'll see that in this example, it talks about enum direction, but then it is also gives it a type, right? So it says, now let's imagine our variant as associated value. The store, that store, now let's imagine that our variant have associated value that store the exact degree of direction. We can define this a new direction enum, but in this case, we are putting in the type here. So in this case, we see that this echo is a felt. Again, how we know it's a felt is like it's a single quote, right? So we'll say it's a felt 252. The move in this case is a tuple. So a tuple of U8 and U8. And again, in this color, it's also a tuple of U8, U8, U8. If you try to compile, this should work. Okay, it works. And again, we use fail 252 here because you might be thinking that this is a string, right? And a string is represented by byte array here. So if we try byte array, it will fail, right? Because it's not a string. So if you compile this again, it's supposed to throw an error that, hey man, I expected a felt, and you're giving me something different. Wait, echo, yeah. So I would just change it to fail 252, and then we can move on. Okay, so we'll move on to the next and final one for today. Before we move on, this one is a bit more. Can someone walk me through this one? This one is a bit more complex, so I don't expect it to be as easy to solve. But in this case, we have to implement the enum, right? So we have to create the custom data type, and we also have to finish this function, the process function. This is the test case, so we can use the test case as to draw inspiration. So for the first variant of the enum, what do you think we should put? Can someone leave it in the chat? This is how it's used.
The first one should be a tuple.
Okay, so it's going to be a variant called change color with a tuple of.
A tuple.
Okay,
of
so
U.
change color. So we just say U8 because it's taken in U25, it's taken in 255, which we put into a U8.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In this other one is echo, and then it's a felt. So we will do echo in the felt 252. Okay. So tuples can also take in custom data type, right? So struct. I know we've not talked about struct here, and y'all will do it as an assignment to figure out. But in this case, we have move, and it's taken in points, and this. I don't know if someone can help me out here, and I will solve this. And if you see this is the struct for point. It's already declared. Yeah. Can someone help me out?
If you put move equal,
You said move what?
move to equals and point.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that should work. And then the last one will be quit, and this doesn't take in any value, so this should work. So in this case, that part I think we solved. But now we have to define process, right? So there's something called pattern matching. So to create a match expression to process the different message variants. And in this case, you would see pattern matching, I think, in this enum. It talks about pattern matching a little bit. Yeah, it talks about pattern matching here. So you can read up on this to get, up to speed. So in this case, we just want to match the message. And then we have message variants first. So the first one is we can do change color, right? So change color. So change color takes in a value of new color, right? And then we assign it here with this. Then we have self dot this function is created here. So in this state implementation, and you all should read more about it. You would see it in the documentation here, the trace implementation. So read more about it here. So I'm just kind of like being all in this case. So it takes in this and then new color. And we go on to the next one. We have a message variant, and we can just do the quit. Oh, this one is easy, so I don't know if someone wants to help me out here. Anyone?
I think just self.script.
It says self dot what? Okay, sir. Yeah, in this case, you will see that quit just takes himself. It doesn't take any argument, so this should be fine. And then we do the message variant. In this case, is echo. Echo takes in the value. I don't know. Someone wants to help me here? What value should I put in, please?
Takes this state.
It takes an S. I just put an S. I mean, you
Yes,
can call it
okay.
anything. I just call it S. I just want to match what they used in this case.
Okay.
So we just say self, is it echo? And we'll put in the value of S that it took in. And then we go on to the last one. So message, that's the move position. So I think it's move. That's the variant, right? And it takes a value too. You see move position, ref self, so it's modifying the state, and then P. And we're going to talk about this again more when we get to the contract part. But in this case, P is point, so it takes in the value of P, and then you go here, then self dot move position,
Move position.
then P. I believe. Do we need to modify any tests? I don't think so. So we go here and see. It doesn't. Okay, it worked. So awesome. So in your case, you all will have to finish the other half of it. We've solved over 20 something plus. And you all would have to finish the other part. You don't have to work on the Starknet one. You can wait till after the class on Starknet to go deeper into it. But yeah, this is pretty much what you would need to do for the homework. I think, is everyone clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know if you are already a seasoned programmer, you might feel like this is a basic class, but again, just complete this as part of the requirements. There are more complex things coming up. I guess for next class, it's going to be a bit more, I just want to introduce everybody to get everybody up to speed, and then we can go on. So for the new thing that I was talking about, something called Node Guardian. I think I already spoke about it as part of the extra credits to graduates from the class. So you go to Node Guardians. They just released a new campaign today, which we kind of walk you through on Cairo. Give me a second, let me try to authenticate. So just logged in. So you just need to complete quests on Node Guardian and kind of like get you better. So in this Cairo quest, it just came out today, literally. It should give you a bit about, entering Cairo. So it's pretty basic stuff. So to finish this campaign, you have to finish acquiring the basic, beyond simple types, conquering ownership. Ownership is a very interesting concept that's introduced by Rust, but we also use it in Cairo. It's a kind of, again, Node Garden is a very, very good platform to learn stuff like this. So I will encourage you to finish this. And this, if you finish the entire quest, I would say, because this is a simple one, it's a two-sword. If you finish the entire quest before the end of this class, that's I would say 30 points to anybody that can finish this quest, or 35 actually. I'll give 35 points. Again, this is a very simple one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. You know what? I'll make it 40 points. Finish this and you get 40 points. So this is kind of like a cheat code to finish the class, right? And to graduate at least. I would try to walk you all through setting it up because it might be a bit tricky to set up Node Guardian. So I'm going to quickly walk you all through it. So this is a standalone quest in setting up Node Guardian. So you need to have a GitHub to authenticate here. So you go to the platform, view quest, setting up. And so the way Node Guardian works is like it's like a Dungeon and Dragon type of quest. So it kind of gives you a prelude, a story, a backstory. I mean, if you want to read it and kind of like get up to speed, you can, or you can skip it. It just kind of gives it more layer. So we go skip it, and then we like setting up Node Guardian. So many of the quests in Node Guardian will require you to build and test contract locally. So this way you will be able to work from the comfort of your IDE. So for you to be able to do this, you have to create a quest play in your, and it's just literally fucking the template from Node Guardian repository. I believe I have one, so I'm going to go to my repo and delete the one I have and just show you. If you again, okay, I actually deleted it before the class, so that's awesome. So I'll just click on this and create a new repository. It's going to be private, so click on that, create repository, run through this. Awesome. So we have it, and then the next step will be so it's private, to install the application. So you click on this again. Next, visit and install our GitHub application. So we want to do that. I want to do it on my own way I created it. You can say select repository and you look for the ng, the one I just put there. ng quest place, what it's called. So it's this one. And it will probably be the same name on yours. It's just the username that will be different, right? So you install it on your repo. I'm using a passkey, so I'll just put in my whatever way you want to authenticate yours, it should work. So again, we just did this, and then we want to select. I think we already selected quest place, so this is good. So we already have it installed that way. So the next step will be to clone it, right? So you want to git clone and put in your username. So you can just go here and just literally do it the same way you do stuff. I'm going to open my terminal. Okay, I was trying to remove this. I'll just create a new shell. Okay, so I'm going to cd, I'll put in my home. I'm sure you're probably familiar with this, and if you're not, give me a second. Okay, desktop. I'll create a new directory here. So make directory, call it node guardian. Okay, cd node guardian, and then I'll clone that repo into this place. Okay, so cd node guardian. Yeah, whatever way you can get it, you get it, you'll be good. So I just cloned the repo. You see, I'm trying to pull that to my screen frame. Okay, so we have Node Guardian cloned here. And then we'll look at the next step here. So the next step is to seed into Node Guardian, which I already did, and then we run this npm script. I like using yarn, so hopefully this works. So I'm going to do, I like using pm run, and what's the name of this? Start adventure. Okay, I'm just going to confirm from the package. They have a script called Start Adventure, so just do that. And then it should install all the dependencies. And if you don't have npm installed on your computer, you should install npm because it's not going to work without that, or pnpm, whatever package manager you want. But in this case, I think npm will be required, so just have npm installed on your computer. And we'll wait for this. Okay. Well, while we wait for it, that should be it, and just run quests and see if it works. I don't know if anyone is following along or trying to do the same thing. If you are, please let me know your progress. Is anyone following along?
Yes, I'm doing it.
Okay. So let me know your progress.
Yes, I'm following along, but I'm still behind.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I'm in GitHub.
Select your profile, then all this.
Okay, having an issue with this. I had an issue with my computer earlier this week. I changed some things. So I'm going to try to edit this script and see if this helps. Just cancel this. I don't know, Frank, were you the one following along?
I'm following along, but I'm still trying to clone it from GitHub.
Oh, okay. Okay. But I'm having issue with my npm. I'll try to see if Brew can install npm.
I'm already running Star Adventure.
You're already running what?
I already cloned the repository from GitHub.
Okay. Were you able to install the dependency?
I finished the task.
You said what?
I already finished. I run the quest command and it runs.
Okay. That's awesome. I'm trying to update my npm and then I'll run this again. Okay. But yeah, if you run the quest and it went through, that's all you probably need to get started. That means you have it set up. You can try to finish the quest by doing the quest find setup, and then you should get like a simple quest, and then just run it. It should pass, and then you submit, and then that's all. I will not be able to do this part because I already completed it a while ago. So, I mean, you would see that I got awarded points for it. And then there's like a leaderboard, so you can be able to see, you know, if you want to, if you're like a competitive programmer, there's like an all of fame for up 100 participants of Node Guardian. Well, sadly, I'm 94, so I got to kind of like speed up my game. But yeah, you got to kind of like, solve quests and then you get up to speed, and then it's like you can decorate your character, just show you like, you solve more problems in this campaign. But for us, what you need to focus on is the entering Cairo. So you already installed it, so you can get started with the, acquiring the basics. I'm gonna see if my dependency is done installing, still installing. But yeah, you can get started working on the entering Cairo. And if you can finish it, that's 40 points for this class. That's pretty much, if you show up to all the classes, you finish your, you should pass the class with that. So yeah, this is, I guess, a easy way to make sure you secure your graduate spot. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. I'm going to record a video after this class to show you how to set up your workstation. You don't need to follow along next class, but if you watch this video, so I'll tag it as an assignment, send up your workstation. So it's just going to go through these steps. So docs.starknet.io. A quick start, I believe, setting up your environment. So I'm going to record another video on setting up your environment. So for you to be able to program in Cairo and also write Starknet contract, you need to have Stackline installed and Scarb. And some of them, the dependency is Rust, right? So you will need to have Rust installed, and then you can run this command on your computer and then Stackline up, and this should give you the latest version. I'm going to run the command on my computer so you can just see. So start the dash version. So you see the version of Stackline I have 0.35. And then if I run the scarb dash version, I think that should work. Should show you the version of scarb I have, which is 2.8.3, and I have Cairo 2.8.2 and Sierra 1.6.0. But yeah, just need to install these two dependencies and it should be good. In our own case, we're going to use ASDF to install scarb, and then we will install Stackline with Rust. So think I'm going to record this video and send it to you. You all don't absolutely have to follow along, but it will be good to, do that as an assignment so that you have your environment set up to start building contract as fast as possible. Don't know if you all have any questions for me aside from that in this class. Still waiting for this to install. Are there any questions regarding the Cairo Starklings that we talked about today? Are there any questions regarding Node Guardian? Anyone? Is anyone there?
Yeah. So I would appreciate if we can have the links to the resources and to the installation page on our email. So somewhere we can reference the link.
Yes. Okay. Yes, 100%. I will have the link to that in the email. I don't know if you all received the last email I sent, but I did send a broadcast email with like a summary of class, the video recording, because this class is being recorded. I also attached the slides and extra resource if you all wanted to kind of like catch up for today. I will do the same.
Yeah, I got that.
Awesome. So I'll do that. And I'll also leave a Telegram group that I created or was created to support people in this group. So you can ask questions there. If you need any extra support, you can do that. And you all can help each other. I think that will be the best way to grow. And yeah, if you have any question, there was a link in the bottom of the email I sent last time where you can book an office hour with me. So you can ask me questions. I'll be glad to answer the questions and help you all out and kind of like get you all up to speed as fast as possible with Cairo. Yeah, that's pretty much summary of what I had today. I wanted to walk you all through Starklings, which we did. Again, assignments, finish the rest. And it's not any pressure. You have 5 weeks to complete this. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out. And there are resources out there that will help you. There's the Starknet official Discord you should join if you're not a member of. You can ask more experts in Cairo to help you, and this is building your support. If you also start working on Node Guardian, they also have a Discord channel. You can join. You can ask veteran Cairo developers and other blockchain developers to help you out as you're working along. It's best to ask questions in those channels because then you get more support and you just build like a resource that you can always reference or go to when you get stuck while you're actually doing this, or maybe only does, or working on your own project.
The campaign is entering Cairo, right?
You said what?
The campaign is entering Cairo. Is this one that you're showing?
Yes. The campaign is entering Cairo, but the more Cairo quests you complete on Node Guardian, the more points you get.
Okay.
If you remember, there is like the attendee spark, just if you did not complete all the requirements to graduate. There's the graduation spark, and then there's cum laude spark. So if you graduate with distinction, or you show that you're an exceptional student, you get like a distinction graduate. So it's like if you want, you should complete as much campaign quests in Cairo or campaigns. It helps you, and it literally prepares you for like Only Dust hackathon. I don't know if you're all familiar with OnlyDoes Hackathon, but OnlyDoes is this platform that helps coordinate open source contribution on Starknet. This one. So in here, you should be able to see projects on Starknet that you can contribute to, and you get rewarded for that. So this year alone, they've rewarded a lot of contributors. And they have an hackathon once every month where you can contribute to actual projects and get rewarded or paid to contribute to this open source project. So I think this is a good way to get you all up to speed in Starknet. And then from there, you all can work on your own project. So you can work on your own idea and you get a grant to keep building on Starknet. I think it's a win-win situation. And I would definitely love to see more people, work on their ideas after this Basecamp, just, build more projects. And again, if you need any resource, if you need help, reach out, would assist as much as possible in helping you brainstorm or working on your project if you need just feedback. But yeah,
Okay.
Any other question? Anyone else? Is there anything, maybe I went too fast, is there any thing you would want to say? On how, I can improve the class for you all next week, or just in general, just questions. Okay, I'm gonna wait one more minute. If there are no questions, we'll call it a day. Any questions?
Sorry, my network broke up just now. Okay, are we still going to submit this Node Guardians quest today?
No, you all have up till the end of this cohort. That's in 5 weeks to finish anything I gave you. So this is not due today. I would recommend you start as soon as possible, and you can complete more quests because the more quests, the more points. But yeah, this is not due until the next 5 weeks. Same with the Starknet app. But I would encourage you to start early than wait till the end. And you'll, again, I completed half of it, so you can reference it, but I would encourage you to do it yourself without, using any reference, so you can kind of get up to speed and read the documentation as much as possible. Okay. Final questions. We're gonna end the class if there is none.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you. Next class will be on Starknet. And look forward to working with you all. And I'm trying to readjust the schedule to give you all more, dojo, because it seems like people want to understand on-chain game development. So I might kind of mumble 2 sections together next week, but I'm going to make it as, friendly as possible. And we'll see how it goes. Talk to you all later. Thank you, guys.